Hey, everybody, welcome to WCAX show. We're hopping on a few minutes late today, but we wanted to kind of address a story that we were following since last weekend. St. Johnsbury police officer shot in the line of duty, and it's kind of raised a lot of concerns and comments from people in the community alike here. With that said, we're gonna loop in our Calvin Cutler, who has been following us a little bit in the days and the weeks since. First off, Calvin, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, John, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of just a recap here, this was last Friday. St. Johnsbury police officer was shot and injured in the line of duty there. And it's kind of raised a lot of questions within the community as far as public safety goes. You actually spoke with the former chief in St. Johnsbury. What did he have to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because, certainly it's been a really challenging time for the community. You talk about, how, Captain Jason Gray is doing. He was actually released from the hospital, yesterday, which is a good thing. But, backing up just a little bit, the individual who allegedly did the shooting, Scott Mason. Right now, he's pleaded not guilty to a first-degree murder charge for allegedly shooting Captain Gray during that domestic violence call on Friday. And this has really sort of touched a nerve among some in the community because Scott Mason has a lengthy criminal history with both civil charges, but also criminal charges as well, and he's well known to law enforcement in the Northeast Kingdom. And so the former chief of police in St. Johnsbury, his name is Tim Page. He just retired last October after a nearly 40-year-long career in law enforcement. He's been with the state police. He was with the Orange County Sheriff, and most recently, he was the chief of police in St. Jay. And the way that he sees it, he was personal friends and coworkers with Captain Gray when he was on the force. And, for him, this case has really touched a nerve. And he went on Facebook essentially saying that, and posted this lengthy,
Yeah.
statement essentially saying that this shooting should not have happened in the first place, that Scott Mason should have been held accountable by the criminal justice system, and he should have potentially been behind bars or
Yeah.
have been in a more incarcerative or rehabilitative setting. And he really sort of spells out in this post, which so far has received over 1,200 likes or 1,200 shares, that is, that we last saw, to really express his frustration about the direction of the criminal justice system at the hands of the state legislature, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. I went to Groton yesterday and I sat down with the former chief to talk about where are we now, and in his view, where have we fallen short in the last few years. And he said it really all started with the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, and the accountability, which he said was warranted for some of those police officers in Minneapolis, but the fact that in his words, it created a nationwide, sort of movement for police accountability. It has had numerous effects in police departments all across the U.S. and has really shifted how public policymakers view the role of law enforcement. And he said, whether it's, a lot of laws in the state legislature in recent years, whether that's bail reform, drug use, people being released into the community on conditions,
Yeah.
the Criminal Justice Council, which oversees law enforcement. He says essentially it's created a environment where police have their hands tied and are
Yeah.
not able to enforce the law. And so it's really struck a nerve with many in
Yeah.
the community.
And I think a common comment or email that we get a lot is there's a lot of these repeat offenders. It's a revolving door of some people committing these similar crimes, same crimes. And I think I did pull I think one little quote from the story that you did this morning. It says I think it was the chief that you spoke to. It says high bar to achieve to hold offenders on bail. Is that and that's kind of the case here, which is like, hey, you know what? You have some of these people that they get them, they arrest them, and then they're right back out again. So understand that concern. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, from the Chiefs' perspective, and bail is interesting because it's really a tool that law enforcement uses
yeah,
as a very narrow purpose. It's really just to get people to show up for their um for their court date, essentially. But after talking with state lawmakers, they were the ones, actually, that was a quote from the House Judiciary Chair Martin Lalone, that said essentially, we can only hold somebody without bail, until their trial. We can only do that in a very narrow set of circumstances, whether the charge that they're charged with carries a really hefty uh, sentence, potentially up to life, or if there's a flight risk in that a judge determines that this person that's being held might run away or might leave the state.
yeah,
So that's when you can hold somebody without bail. But by and large, you know, there's a frustration among law enforcement that they are unable to hold people and keep people, in the community or in a incarcerative setting while they await their trial. Of course, the big rub here is that in the United States criminal justice system, you are innocent until proven guilty. And so that's where state lawmakers are saying this is a much more nuanced conversation than just arresting people, holding them, and,
yeah,
adjudicating their case. As we've reported so much over the past few years, there's a huge backlog, even today, in the court system. And so people are being arraigned. They'll come in, have their initial hearing, and then they'll get, of course, pushed out to another court date. It's where they'll have evidentiary hearings and other things like that. And meanwhile, law enforcement in the courts can't hold them without bail. So they're out in the community, released on conditions. But then, in many ways, law
yeah,
enforcement says people will flout those conditions of release, and they will not adhere to them, and they get arrested. And this is where the idea of catch and release comes from.
yeah,
But really, from state lawmakers' perspective, they say that the solution here is to try to they say that we have the accountability measures in place. They say that there are the mechanisms for incarceration, jail time, community service, whatever those accountability measures may be. But they say the big disconnect here is getting those accountability measures enacted in time. And that's not what's happening right now, is that people are languishing in the criminal justice system.
yeah. It's very much just a not soon enough kind of, kind of case here. But yeah, I think I think again, this is a story that has kind of dominated our headlines and our shows throughout the last few days, and it has the possibility to spark some change here. But Calvin, thanks so much for hopping on and kind of just walking me through some things here with this, and we'll show your story in just a second here. But I know you're on the road too, so I won't keep you. But thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate it.
You have a good one. Again, that was our Calvin Cutler there, just talking about a recent incident in St. Johnsbury. You can see that full story in WCAX.com. We'll pull it up here in just a sec.
Now, Mason pleaded not guilty to first-degree attempted murder earlier this week after police say he shot St. Johnsbury captain Jason Gray during a domestic violence call earlier this week. But the circumstances leading up to the shooting has some saying it never should have happened in the first place. Scott Mason holds a lengthy criminal record, including convictions for assault, drug dealing, burglary, and more. Former St. Johnsbury Police Chief Tim Page says he shouldn't have been out on the streets.
We need to ensure the safety of our citizens again. We need to return to law and order. Right now, it's mayhem.
Page, who worked with Gray, took to social media this week to express his frustration. He says since 2020, the pendulum of accountability has swung to the left, and legislative reforms dealing with bail, drugs, use of force, and police oversight have created an environment where there's little to no accountability for perpetrators.
The laws and the policies of society, you can ignore them and there are no consequences. And a society without consequences is mayhem.
State lawmakers say the law only gives judges so many options to hold alleged offenders without bail, and that it's a high bar to achieve to hold someone pre-trial. House Judiciary Chair Democrat Martin Lalonde agrees that lawmakers need to instruct the courts to expedite repeat offenders.
We know who those individuals are, and we need to prioritize getting the consequences for those individuals who have multiple criminal charges.
But he says adding more penalties, accountability, or longer minimum sentence won't improve public safety, and that changes, like more funding for the judiciary from last year, needs to take effect so serving justice can happen faster.
Be it incarceration, be it treatment, be it probation, there's lots of different consequences, but the key is that we need to get those consequences.
State lawmakers will return to Montpelier in a few weeks, with Democrats no longer holding a supermajority. Lalonde expects it won't affect his committee's work, as many bills last year were crafted with Republicans. But Page says he wants to see a plan from leaders to allow police to enforce the law and improve public safety.
And we need to have honest discussions about very large problems in this state. And it needs to be done civilly and together.
Now, Captain Gray is still recovering from his injuries, and we're told that he's returning home to St. Johnsbury from the hospital this week. But even then, we're told his injuries are still extensive and that it will be a long road to recovery. Reporting at the State House, Calvin Cutler, Channel 3 News.
And again, that was a story from Calvin last night about the St. Johnsbury shooting there. You can see that whole thing on WCAX.com. Peter, now shifting gears here, we're just a few days away from the holidays.
Yep.
And, I think a lot of people are worried about getting home, getting back to family and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, temperatures just flying down. That's the thing. Yeah.
They really are. I mean, Tuesday we were in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were in the 40s. We started off today in the 30s, but we're actually going to get colder even as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. And even just looking out the window right now, we've started to see a few snow showers even here in the Champlain Valley. The good news is the bulk of the snow is going to begin to primarily wrap up here through the rest of the morning hours today. Still got a few snow showers kind of here and there, but most of us trend drier this afternoon, and I kind of even suspect that we could see a little bit of sunshine into the afternoon hours today. This was supposed to be a live look outside from Newport, but that is
it's dark.
Clearly not working right now for some reason. Temperature-wise, here we are starting off the day in the 30s out there, low to mid-30s, but these temperatures, they're actually going to drop here as we head into the rest of the afternoon and evening hours today. Here's how the day shapes up on Futurecast. Again, any of the snow shower activity that we're seeing out there right now and into the rest of the morning hours gradually subsides. Notice how the clouds start to break apart just a little bit here through the afternoon and evening. Optimistic that some of us could see a few breaks of sunshine today. Into the night tonight, though, the clouds are quickly back on the increase. Clouds and a few snow showers kind of possible here on and off in nature, sporadic throughout the day on Friday. Similar situation even heading into the day on Saturday. However, it does look like Saturday the snow shower is really going to be confined to especially the higher elevations, the spine of the Green Mountains. In terms of snowfall, for the most part, really not a whole lot of this. This is going to be talking over the day today, tomorrow, and basically all the way through the day Saturday. So that's basically 3 days of snow totals right there. Most of us talking about a trace, maybe up to an inch or two. However, the higher elevations, the mountains of the Adirondacks, the Green Mountains, they could possibly pick up an additional 2 to 4 in some places. Temperatures here. So here's what happens through the day today. As I mentioned, we actually get colder as we head into the afternoon hours. Take a look at what that does to our wind chills later this evening, tonight. Single digits and teens out there for wind chills, so definitely a far cry from the 50s that we were talking about just a few days ago. Again, as I mentioned, into the afternoon, most of us will talk temperatures 30s now, back into the 20s by about 3 o'clock this afternoon. So those temps continue to fall. Still a chance at a few snow showers this morning, but optimistic we can see a few breaks of sunshine here. Tonight, overnight lows, they fall back into the 20s. Still a chance at a few light snow showers. We'll keep the chance at a few light snow showers into your day on Friday. Temperatures in the 20s once again for your day tomorrow. Now look at that 7-day forecast. Again, we'll keep the chance at a few snow showers going for Friday and Saturday. Saturday, also the first day of winter. Fittingly enough, definitely going to be feeling like winter for the day Sunday.
yeah.
Daytime highs in the teens. Take a look at those overnight lows Saturday night into Sunday. Single digits, either side 0, maybe even a hint cooler Sunday night to Monday. Does look like we see at least a little bit of sunshine in that Sunday-Monday time frame. Start to warm things back up just a bit as we head into the start of next week. Tuesday for Christmas Eve day and Christmas Day itself, maybe the chance at a few festive snowflakes as well. So got a temperature roller coaster that we were on for the next several days.
The temperature roller coaster if it's going straight down.
Straight down.
Straight down for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's definitely some good news, especially waking
Yeah.
up Christmas morning. You get a lot of outdoor.
Exactly.
gear.
And you know
Go
what?
try it out. Yeah.
You want a white Christmas, and
Right.
for the most part, well, a lot of us got a little bit of snow last night.
Yeah.
We're even seeing some right now, and we'll be cold enough to where any of that snow that did fall should now stick around.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah.
Good news. Thank you, Peter. I think that does it for us here on WCAX Extra. Of course, you can catch Peter and I in, 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours or
2
so.
hours and, let's see, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Okay, look at you.
And, of course, you can see all of our content on WCAX.com and our evening shows as well.
Yep.
But I think that does it for us here. Have a good one.